In the name of God, the All-Merciful. The thundering. What is the thundering? The day humans scatter like moths, when mountains are like tufts of carded wool. Then he who weighs down the balance shall know a life of contentment, while he who is lighter in the balance shall have before him nothing but an abyss. What will convey to you what this is? The fire that burns you. Surah 101, verses 1 through 9.
In the early period, those first revelations, very intense, very focused on the idea of the oneness of God and the call to judgment, the call to accountability of human beings who are to be submissive to God and to God's will. The very vivid imagery of those early revelations reflect a period in the life of the prophet where he was preaching with intensity a new message.
He said to them, "Follow me, I will make you into people of noble lineage, and after, you too will possess the wealth of Khosrow and Caesar." He was perceptive enough to realize that the Roman and Persian empires were declining, that the region would no longer be dominated, and that it was necessary to fill the void.
The Quraysh were not immediately aware of the danger. It was only when the Prophet attacked their idols that they began to feel threatened.
Idol worship was the very pillar of Quraysh commerce. He had to fight the Quraysh. He had to rise up against them.
There is also a class element that explains why they refused to admit that Muhammad was the one chosen by God to deliver his message. They believed that God would have chosen the most distinguished person as his messenger, not someone of low social standing.
How could he prove that those who chose to follow him would be treated like family? His slave Zaid, who had been offered to him by his wife Khadijah, said, "I am a Muslim." And the Prophet said to him, "I give you the best of lineages. You are my son." And he declared to the Quraysh, "I present to you Zaid, son of Mohammed." Then the poor flocked to embrace the new teaching.
For the handful of converts to the new religion, the ritual of prayer was far from firmly established. At the time, the small group's practice was more meditative than ceremonial. Following the rhythm of the sun, perhaps 3 times a day, they excused themselves from daily life for a few moments to recite some of the short Quranic passages that had by then been revealed.
إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم
The idea of a face of God before which one stands and prostrates oneself in order to execute a proper prayer must have existed, linked to the figure of Abraham, who, as the Quran states, migrated towards the face of God. For the time being, believers faced northward toward the holiest of cities, Jerusalem, already consecrated by the 2 other monotheistic faiths to which Muhammad was connected.
تنزل في مناسبة معينة The Quran is the compilation of a series of verses transmitted by the Prophet. These verses were memorized, recorded, and later collected. Their final compilation was undertaken during the Caliphate of Ottoman.
Muslim tradition holds that the Quran was revealed gradually over a period of 23 years in the form of groups of verses.
We thus have a text that was constructed over the course of history. It wasn't handed down to us all at once. In the first historical period, it served a specific function, while in the second phase, it served another, different function.
فلو نزل جملة واحدة لقالوا إنه عثر على كتاب مدفون أما حينما يلازمه جبريل فهذا ليس من عند أحد إلا من عند من يعلم السر.
Each series of verses was grouped with others to form a section called a surah. Thus the text consists of 114 surahs that all, except for one, begin with the words, "In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful."
There are narrative elements, but there are also elements of liturgical prayer. There are elements of course, legislative force that eventually become an important part of Islamic law. There are ritual instructions, there are oaths, there is vivid imagery of many different kinds.
إذا نزل في وقت حدوث المشكلة يفسرها ويوضحها ويطمئن الجميع إلى أن هذا ليس من عند محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم.
The voice speaking in the Quran is that of God Himself and no one else. For the words of the Quran are not the words of a human being. It is important to understand that these are not the words of Mohammed.
When heaven shall cleave asunder, and the stars be dispersed, and the sea waters churn, and the tombs be overturned, the soul shall see its actions, past and present. Mortal, who misled you against your generous master? Your master who created you, who gave perfection and precision to your form, who fashioned you in the form he intended. But you treat his religion as a lie. Guardians watch over you, honored guardians who record your actions. They know all that you do. The just shall find the journey of delights, and prevaricators find hell. On Judgment Day they shall be burned. They shall never get away. Surah 82, verses 1 to 16.